Well, hello, friends. In today's reading in 1 Samuel chapters 15 to 16, we read about Saul's second major rebellion, his sin of disobedience. And in chapter number 15, verse 3, we see where God told him to go and destroy the Amalekites, everything. And Saul, in verse number 9 of the same chapter, he did not obey. He spared Agag the king, the best of the sheep and the oxen, but he stated that all the worthless things he destroyed. But that's not what God said. He said, destroy everything. In chapter 15, verse 12, he set himself up a monument to honor himself. And then verse 15, he told Samuel, he said, I have sacrificed or saved the best of the things to sacrifice to the Lord your God. Now I want you to notice it says your God, not my God or our God, but your God, speaking to Samuel. And in verse number 20, he stated to Samuel, he said, I have obeyed. Samuel was addressing this sin. I have obeyed. Now, that was his version of obedience, but that's not the complete. You see, a partial obedience is a disobedience. And this is what happened to Saul. In verse 24, he finally confesses to Samuel and he says, I feared the people and obeyed their voice. So he was more worried about what the people were saying and how they felt rather than what God felt. And then in chapter number 16, we see where God has told Samuel to go and anoint a new king. And we find out it's David. And he says, the story goes where all the sons of Jesse had come before Samuel, and he said, is this the one? No, and Samuel thought it was the one. And the Lord specifically said that man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And in verse number 13 of chapter 16, the Spirit rushed upon David, this new king, anointed king. And in verse 14, the Spirit departed from Saul. Now, here's what I want to challenge you with today. It's important for us to obey the Lord completely. Samuel told Saul, he said, obedience is better than sacrifice. And disobedience, the sin of rebellion, shall I say, is as the sin of witchcraft. And so we must obey God, completely obey him, his full word, not just take things out that sound good to us or things that make us feel good or whatever. We need to be obedient to the full word of God, or else we are just as Saul was. So I encourage you, friends, the choices are obedience or rebellion. Let's be a person that obeys. God bless. Bye-bye.